Welcome to our first conversation of day one of CLOSEUP. Before we get started, as a reminder, in case you missed Charlene, we are bringing you beautiful brand videos as well as in-person conversations. So for the best close-up experience, make sure that you select the option to view the videos full screen. We'd love to hear from you throughout the day. There is a chat option on the platform. So please feel free to comment as we go along and interact with your fellow listeners. And then also follow us on Instagram at ICFF official and at Wanted Design, and use the hashtag CLOSEUP 2021 in case you want to tell us how we're doing and what you love so far. Okay, so without further ado, I'm super excited about our first conversation today. I'm a huge fan, and so this is such an honor for me. I'm thrilled to welcome Pierrots Lissoni and Stefano Giussani of Lissoni and Partners.
Thank you.
Thanks. It's so great to be here. Stefano is in person, and Piero is on. Will be joining us live from where is he?
Milano.
From Milano.
Yes,
he's actually in Milano. So. So let's do a quick, in case people don't know you all, which I'm sure they do, let's just start with a few facts about you all. You do architecture, landscape, product, interiors, and graphic design. You're responsible for the art direction of some of the world's most influential brands. Piero, to start, I have to read this so I don't get it wrong. You are creative director for Alpi, B&B Italia, Boffi, Living Divani, Lemma, Lualdi, Poro, and San Lorenzo. And you've worked for brands such as Alessi, Fantini, Floss, Genesee, Illy, Cartel, and Knoll. I'm exhausted just thinking of it all. And with Stefano at the helm in New York, you're expanding your reach in the Americas, which is super excited. I know you created a love letter video to New York of sorts. So let's watch that first.
And I can see Pierrots.
Oh, and hi, Pierre. So great. I love it.
Yeah.
Hi, Piero. So good to see you.
Hi.
How are you?
Quite well, and you?
Good, thank you. Good. So let's start with your all world. How, projects, products, how do you make it all happen? How do you all work together? Piero, tell us.
Good question. You need to be a little bit crazy. You need to be a little bit schizophrenic, and in the same time you need to glue everything all together with a humanistic approach, and that's it, no more. It's so easy.
Oh, it's easy.
It sounds easy.
It sounds easy.
Like
is it easy, Stefano?
Yeah, it's kind of, I'm learning, year after year, how to cook the perfect soup, perfect recipe. But as you said, we're putting together many ingredients and come up, it's a magic, every time, we can't divide one thing from the other. So everything together and the magic happen.
Love it. And how long have you?
It's a quality from our culture, because to be architects in Italy, it's a scientific approach with a humanistic touch. It means you need to be, in the same time, engineer, you need to be graphic designer, you need to be industrial designer, architect, structuralist, You need to move all together many different figures or inside in the same body, and that's it.
So did it just happen organically that you started to expand into these other disciplines, Piero, or was that always the intent?
It's, I think it's a cultural approach, you know. Many years ago, if you remember, the Anglo-Saxon school started to teach something super specialized. Luckily, in Europe, we continues to be in the middle of that, and we continues to push and to think with a completely open, different mind, and to be able to jump in and out in many different attitudes and possibilities. It means when you are able to design a spoon in our culture, more or less you are able to design a town, and that's it, not more.
Yeah.
You know, connect together many different qualities, but everything is connected with one, not two, one only possibility: human measurements and human proportion. When you respect and you touch the human proportion, doesn't matter if you use two dimensions or three dimensions or multidisciplinarity dimensions. But again, everything is reconnected with one measure, the human one. That's it, not more.
Love that.
Yeah, and also we brought the creativity, let's say, approach, the creative approach to anything, as he said, also in relations, in running an office or challenging, ourselves with new projects, but every scale and every challenge is, is exciting because of that.
Right. And in the office, are there studios, or is there, do they work across the disciplines? How do you encourage, I guess, that innovation and that creativity in the office?
Well, listen, it's first you need to think about this a community, and one community is like a human crossover, and you mix all together many different attitude, cultural attitude, technical attitude, and team attitude. When you mix it all together, it's like to shake a perfect martini cocktail. You need to put inside many different ingredients, and after that you shake, and the perfect cocktail becomes. Well, it is, it is a connection in between human beings, human culture, and many different opportunities to work together. And for that reason, I like to use crossover.
Yeah, we have, even if we have an ocean in between us, but the entire Lissoni community, as Piero said, it comes from all over the world. And that is definitely a plus, being multicultural, any thought, any ideas, it's always a continuous process of research, confrontations and discussions, and ideas, anything can come from anywhere,
Right.
So yeah, it's a continuous work.
Love that. And your process, I love the sketches behind you, Piero. Do you still draw and sketch and encourage that? And
Yeah, yes, definitely.
Yes, it's like a meta collection. It's named Wunder I use the German word, it's a Wunderkammer. It means it's in between to be a nightmare or a dream, depend of the day and depend of your mood. But normally it's a Wunderkammer. It's a special room with many different dreams inside, and sketches, pictures, images, and everything. It's more or less like in an alphabet word. It's one letter. It's connected with some other letters. It's probably the previous or the primordial language, and that's it.
And how long? Tell us, how long is the firm now? What year are you celebrating?
30.
Sorry?
What?
How many years?
How many years?
34.
34. 34
No.
years.
Yes, 34 years. Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And how long have you been?
I don't know, because I'm a very, very, very young architect. I'm start yesterday evening, and I don't know, something is passing through, and I think I'm a very, very young architect, and that's it. I don't know. I never take count about of months, years, or something like this.
Love it.
Yeah, let's put it that every day seems the first day, you know, kind of. You know, now it's 20 years that I work with Piero.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, it was my professor actually, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, after university, where we met, and then we're here now chatting, you know, live, you know, with an ocean in between. But and yeah, as Piero was saying before, you know, what we do, because we have projects all over the world. Everyone traveling is collecting objects, you know, a piece of magazine, a book, or something that can get inspired, and we share. We have a beautiful table, as he said, a Wunderkammer in his office, but also a table in New York, you know, where we put all the objects together. It's a kind of dressing up a table with, you know, curiosities, let's say, and that can definitely suggest ideas or inputs for our work. This is really interesting as a part of our process, I would say, yeah.
That's really interesting. So any kind of object, like what's there now?
Right, it could be, you know, a wooden spoon, you know, from a market in Tokyo that maybe Piero brought it, you know, from a trip, or maybe a book I bought in Brazil, you know. Anything can happen, you know, and can be, and put together, combined together, it creates, you know, really this interesting, eclectic, you know, approach, you know, that we definitely have at the firm.
That's great. I love that. And we talked, you know, when we're getting ready for our talk, we talked a lot about your, you know, some of your pillars are rigor, beauty, and simplicity in all that you touch, which is never by accident. How do you pull that off time after time?
Oh, it's quite easy for instance, something is quite easy because all the time, I think we need to use like a code of simplicity. The simplicity, it's around of us. At the same time, you know, to be simple mean you need to be in the back of you, inside in your mind. You need to use a lot of level of complexity. And when I talk about of complexity, of course, I talk about of the cultural complexity. I talk about of the complexity to develop the process, and after that, when you start to use the simplicity, it means you need to clean and clean and clean and clean and clean and clean, and after that, you know, inside in the unbelievable level of complexity, you read something absolutely so purified and becomes probably project, and in that way, I'm talking about of simplicity. But if you don't use complexity in the back, if you like, you know, the simplicity is the public face of complexity. If you don't use this level of complexity, it's never possible, and it's impossible for me to think about our simplicity. Otherwise, everything becomes probably banality, you know. Mm-hmm. The borderline is very close to simplicity, but you need to be simple, very complex in the back. That's it. And the complexity, it's done by a life. Complexity, it's inside, for example, in one simple object from, I don't know, from Japan, but can you imagine how many 100 years they make for develop something so simple, but at the same time, you know, the complexity it's inside in the nanotechnologies. But at the same time, the nanotechnologies, in the end, they are super simple. Two atoms all together, they becomes a new robot. But before, you need to think about in a mathematical way for 100 years. And after that, you design something super pure, like a two nanotechnology atoms all together. And they doing a special nanorobots. Well, but without complexity, it's impossible to be simple.
We use always the word silent details or invisible details, which are the details that you don't see, but you feel it. You know, when you're in a space or you look at a project, you know, product, you feel that complexity that Piero was saying, you know, and even if it's not presented, you know, right in front of you.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and don't forget the classical Anglo-Saxon words God is in the details. Because you are Anglo-Saxon, we are a Catholic country, and in our Catholic country, devil is in the details, but you need the devil or God, up to you, but you need the details.
Yes, it's all about the details. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dive into some of your recent work. And since hospitality is near and dear to my heart, can you tell me a little bit about the project we recently featured in HD, the Grand Park in Croatia, which was such an amazing lesson in black and white and duality. Can you talk to me about how you wanted to redefine the seaside resort? Because it's not your typical seaside resort, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, because all the time, when we think about, or when the people think about of something on the seaside, they try to use the classical Mediterranean code. I don't know what you mean about of Mediterranean code, or I don't know what the people mean about of Mediterranean code. We try to put inside a simple touch of elegancies. The second one, we try to use the integrated architecture inside in a hill. And in the third time, we try to combine together this kind of silent elegancies. Of course, for example, I use a lot of black and white contrast, because I like to use this natural material black. I like to use the natural structure in metal black, but the natural black, not painted. And we try to use the natural white with the special stucco, with the special concrete, only treated with wax and with the human touch on that, and that's it, not more. We only try to combine together the elements in a purity, in a super pure way, with a simple detail, the light. Think about in the Mediterranean Sea, in the north part of Croatia, this quality, the main quality is the light. And that's it, not more. We didn't try to play around, we only use the light like a first element, and the second one, these contrasts in black and white, natural black and white.
Yeah, and all of this, then is translated into the experience, because talking about hospitality, and we have projects, hotels, resort from 8 rooms up to 1,000 rooms, spread everywhere, Every time, is leading us also the experience, that the guest is going to have, and the environment is suggesting us. We always try to declare where we are, when we design it. And natural light, as Piero was saying, the materiality, the colors. We try to study a lot, the country where we're working in, and get inspired from it and translate it into the complexity, that we were talking before.
I feel like what you all do, though, is you make it seem easy, but I mean, editing and curating and bringing it down and paring it down is almost harder.
I mean, we try to put passion everywhere, in what we do, and we love what we do. And we're lucky to do what we do, So we transfer that in an honest way, to what we're gonna see, on magazine or everywhere, or experiencing in life,
Right.
Yeah.
What is it that you love about hospitality?
Well,
Piero?
there are not many hotels we stay in, so always traveling, and well.
I don't know, if I'd like to talk like a guest, and not like an architect, all the time I like to feel well, but I like to feel a guest.
Right.
In the end, it's not my home, and I never design a hotel like a home, never in my life. The hotel, I like to design the hotel, and the hotel need to be hotel. When somebody start to talk about, I like to design something homey, for me is not interesting, I like to design a proper creator because I'm a guest. Few hours, few days, few weeks, few months later, I close the key, I close the door, I turn the key, and they change completely again my status of life. For that reason, I never design, and I like when the people design hotels, correct, warming, cozy, beauty, simple, elegant, exaggerate, but hotel. You know, when you design something for a community, you design something for a community. I never think about, or you know, to do something or to live in such a homey feeling. I'm a little bit disruptive for that, but I like.
Love it.
Yeah, but indeed it's exciting. You know, hospitality is definitely one of the field, you know, that we really like to do, you know, a lot. You know, every time is a new challenge. You know, you can express, you know, the momentum, you know, and the impression of the world we are living in and the country we are. So it's definitely exciting, you know, every time, you know, a new project. And now we're seeing that hospitality is coming back, you know,
yes.
after this tsunami that we went through, all of us. Yes.
Yes, thankfully. So let's turn over to homes on the water, if you will, and your designs for San Lorenzo. How did you conceptualize some of the world's most incredible yachts and become the art director, which is amazing?
Well, again, think about the yachts and think about, historically speaking, I think in between of the 70s or, you know, the latest 60s and partially 70s, the all yachts, there was designed every one, it was designed with a special touch and elegancies. I don't know what happened after that. They becomes a horrible show off, floating, horrific museum of style, and I never understood the reason why. You know, sometimes the owners, they were so sophisticated people. They are sophisticated people with incredible collection of arts and beautiful houses all around the world. And I don't know the reason why the designers, they chose to design something good for George Nelson Admiral with, you know, with a strange decoration inside. Well, when I start to design something for San Lorenzo, I decide to clean up everything and to think like an architect, you know, not like a specialized architect in both designs, but like an architect, a pure architect. When you design a floating villa, because in the end, they becomes a floating villas, you know, they are a floating buildings. Why, you know, you put inside something exaggerating too much? Why you don't use the classical touch to be elegant? And in that way, I discuss with San Lorenzo and I try to convince them first to be contemporary, because I don't like to design something, you know, looking through the past. I like to use the past like a trampoline to design something from the new generation of ideas. But well, in San Lorenzo, we was only focused on around of some details. First, it's a floating buildings. Second one, I need to combine together the nature with the interior. And the third one, it was to be intelligent. For example, I never used the space, you know, fully furnished by many different pieces. Why? You know, it's impossible to think you design a boat and something is become totally, completely empty. The suggestion is, you know, a beautiful boat, put inside one carpet, one lamp, one chair, that's it. And one piece of art, finito. Some books, and the boat is finished.
Again, you make it sound so easy. I love it. And was there a learning curve? Because there's things you can and can't do on boats. I mean,
well, design boat is like make a millefoglie cake, you know. So it's layer after layers after layers. It changes a lot, you know. Every step you design, and then it moves, you know, and it towards. I mean, it definitely, you know, challenging, you know, and I think reaching the complexity and the level of sophistications, you know, in terms of details, require lots of study. That's for sure, you know, testing materials, you know, but definitely the partner we're working with, you know, I mean, they're really one of the best, I would say, and it makes things happen, and possible as you are seeing now, in the yachts that we design. But yes, it's really inspiring, I have to say, and challenging a lot, the creativity, because if you want to reach that detail,
right,
you need to to face the ocean, I have to say, and deal with it, just to get to what you want.
Yes, and think about the complexity to use the latest generation of material, composite material, the new generation of electronics, in which way is possible to use engines or a new hybrid, powerful engines. In the same way, when I think about to be in this moment, like I'm art director for the company, we design, for example, we design the factories, we design the whole production side, we control the whole system, in which ways technologically is possible to improve the quality. In the same time, we design the communication for them in catalogs, socials, electronic communication, the fairs, the different fair all around the world. I design with them the connection in between industry and art. For example, we are sponsor for the 3 different art Basel in the world: Basel, in Miami, and in Hong Kong. We help the young artists to be, like sponsors. We help them to grow. Well, being an art director in one complexity like San Lorenzo is not only to redesign something, but it's to jump inside in a structural core for the company, in a company, for doing something unique, and that's it. This it's the art director work for somebody like San Lorenzo.
Yeah. And let's talk about some of the other things you mentioned. You also, graphic designs. Lissoni Graphics is one of your divisions devoted to graphic design, visual communication, and brand identity. How do you approach that differently, or is that more of a holistic play for some of your brands that you work with and projects?
Yeah, I would say
I'm sorry, Stefano. I tell you, you need to be a little bit schizophrenic. It's enough.
We go back to that. I love it.
A schizophrenic holistic approach.
That can be coined.
Yes, because it merges everything, together. For some clients, we design, as you said, maybe the factory or maybe the objects, the final output, but also the brand identity. So you have one vision, that goes over and over, any fields. And which comes, as you said, from our backgrounds,
Right.
When I moved here, was the point where I was start facing, this country. And I came from a very opulent country where we were pursuing the simplicity, in what we do. And here I found a kind of simple country, a kind of new word, where instead, the opulence is what is requested. So also this continuous, just position between 2 words, make the interesting part. And I think only being holistic, or schizophrenic, as Piero was saying, is the best way to manage the 2,
Right. Well, and that's also how you create that experience that you're talking about, too, to touch every point.
Every point, every point.
That's amazing. Can we talk a little bit also, too, about your installations and your exhibitions? Is there things that you learn from the temporary that you relate back to the permanent, Piero?
No, listen, everything is completely new and everything is completely old. And when, for example, we start to make some installations and we start, for example, to be in touch with the different periods of art, it's impossible to compare, for example, with one presentation or one installation for BMW or for Boffi. When you start to discuss about of one artist like Gerhard Richter, or you think about of one artist like Tiziano, or you you show one beautiful pieces from Bernardino Luini. Bernardino Luini, it was one of our Renaissance master in Italy, painter and sculptor. Or when you think about of the presentation inside in Palazzo Te in Mantua, well, you know, you need to learn, you need to study a lot, you need to visit a lot of different museums all around the world, and after that, I started to think about in which way it was possible to show something, and you need to take a risk. That's it. And you need a very good victim, more victims all around the world, and if they follow you, you try. For example, when I show for the first time Bernardino Luini, I tell you, it was a Renaissance painter, and I decided to show Bernardino Luini like a modernist painter, pure inside in this old palace in Milano, Palazzo Reale, and I didn't show the paintings on the classical walls, but I built the new walls detached to the original surfaces, and you know, like in a modern contemporary museum, and we show everything like a pure contemporary art, and it was one antique painter. Well, when we combine together Richter and Tiziano, can you imagine one of the most important artists from the last century and this century too, and the other one of the most important Italian painter or worldwide painter from the 16th century, 15th and 16th century. Well, when you do something like this, you need anyway to know, and you need to take a risk. That's it, not more.
Love it. And can we talk about, not to go back, but the last 14 months, as you said, the tsunami that we've been a part of, which I might steal moving forward. But what's it been like, you know, with the two offices, you know, working across an ocean? How have you kept the culture going, the innovation going, you know, keeping your team inspired through a very difficult time, both in New York and Milan?
Well, first of all, we felt immediately more connected than before, as I think many of us, you know, have experienced that one, even if we were totally disconnected, you know, even between the teams here, you know. But technology have helped definitely, you know, it was with us, you know, helping us to feel connected, because we're all in the same, you know, situation, each one with his own computer at home, you know, and no matter if you were in Milano or New York or whatever. So as a positive, let's try to see the positive aspect. Definitely we felt all together, you know, and we start to learn how to work together, you know, even more. Before, you know, maybe it was a kind of challenging, but then became more and more easier, you know. So we, because you can reach each one, you know, you wanted, you know, in the team in a easier way, you know, I would say before, than instead of organizing meetings and, you know, find the right time for everyone, you know, instead, you know, you were at home, you know, and you could reach them. Of course, it was challenging, that's for sure, you know, it wasn't easy. But I would try to see, you know, the positive aspect, and we were definitely more connected in that field. Also with Piero, because also Piero was trapped, you know, somewhere, and we could reach him, you know, without escape, you know, it wasn't on a plane or somewhere else, you know, around the world. The same as was for me, so we could be more connected in a way, you know, and kind of any time of the day and the night, more or less.
24 hours a day.
Yeah, so I mean, it was that part, I would say, you know.
Very true.
I felt like a prisoner anyway.
Yes.
How did it change you as a leader, Piero, or did it?
Sorry?
How did COVID change you as a leader, or did it? Or how you work? Is there anything that it changed for you?
Listen, it's changed in a good way only for one reason, because I stopped to take more than 125 airplanes in a year. Yeah. You know, many different meetings. Luckily, we learn Now it's possible to do it without moving all around the world for nothing or for 1 hour meeting, and after that 3 days for traveling all around the world for nothing. Well, but for the rest, it was for me such a negative moment, because our life, it's a community life. We live inside a community. We need to be in a community. I'm a little bit against, these new prophets. They talk about of the new capacity to work at home or to work somewhere else or to be intelligent or smart or whatever. In my mind, we need to be smart for many reasons. For example, it's possible to travel less or in an intelligent way. It's possible to reserve and to preserve some energies, for doing something more intelligent than I don't know, for spending time for meeting or for somewhere else. But I like to be again social. 100%. I like to move back to, to the traffic inside in a town, to move again by taxi, metro, bike, whatever, and to meet people, to see people only for drinking a simple coffee, and to discuss face to face. And don't forget, in our profession, it's a social profession. We need sociality. That's it.
Yeah. And I would add, being with Italians, that we love to talk, and to meet, it was really, as Pierrots said, being in a prison, we couldn't, socialize. It was kind of challenging. That's for sure. Yeah.
For sure. And what's next? What are you most excited about? You have so many projects and products and things in the pipeline, but is there something you're really looking forward to?
Luckily, we start with many different projects all around the world. We start again in China with 2 important projects in Beijing, another one in Shanghai. We start again, now everything is moving on, in Russia, in Moscow, in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Emirates, in Frankfurt in Germany, in Swiss, in Hungary, in United States, in many different places, in Mexico, in Canada. We are inside, we start again to run. And, but I don't like to choose any new project, because all of them, they are for me important. And doesn't matter if they are bigger or smaller, houses or chairs, all of them for the studio. Each project is the project, and that's it.
Yeah, the excitement for me is now. Is now, because I'm assisting of a really energetic, resume, of where we last a year ago, and also this country is exploding, I mean, every day is new things happening, and we are closer to maybe the moment where we can consider a little bit more relaxed, in the field of what happened before. But beside that, in terms of what we are doing, there are so many exciting things happening, and we can wait to see it all completed, so it's really an interesting moment now, it's really, really exciting and vibrant and full of energy. Yes,
definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so we only have 5 minutes left, so we want to do a little lightning round with you all. So let's start with best advice you've ever received, either about business or design. Piero, Stefano's pointing to you.
I don't know, I'm waiting tomorrow morning to receive.
Stefano, what have you learned most from Piero? Well, from Piero, definitely to be myself, and to put myself in the shoes of the final, user, so that helps a lot. Always when we design, and I do the same also with the team, we are trying always to put ourselves into the drawing, because when you draw something is amazing, beautiful, but you want to put yourself there, and try to figure it out, how it's gonna be, how is the feeling with the perception. So I think, yes, put yourself into the drawings. I think would be a good advice.
Anyway, the best one I receive every day, and more or less sounds Pierrot, not again.
That's again. What is one object you can't live without? You've designed so many. Is there one thing you can't live without day to day?
For sure, it's not designed by me, first. The second one, I need two different objects. The first one, it's a Bialetti coffee machine. The oldest one, impossible to live without. And the second one, it's a Swiss chocolate named Toblerone. Combined together, coffee and one small triangle of the Toblerone chocolate.
Yeah.
Both of them, they are, the two most important objects for me in the world, and that's it.
For you?
Yeah, for me as well. Two or three. The glasses for sure. I love glasses, and also because without, couldn't. But I love as an object. I really love glasses as object. And then I have a lamp that is following me everywhere. It was my hand baggage when I moved to New York, and beside the suitcases, I have a lamp with me, that I got as a present many years ago. So that lamp is with me everywhere, and the light, it makes it to me special, make home, so I love that lamp.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. What's a perfect day for you, Piero?
Monday.
Monday.
Monday, because I'm connected with somebody else from the opposite part of the ocean.
Yeah.
Monday is the perfect day for sure, 100%.
Love it.
Monday because it's a beautiful idea to start again. Monday because it's full of curiosity. Because I like to be surprised every Monday for what happened for the next. And Monday because it's a new beginning, and that's it. Yeah. Monday.
Yeah,
I would just add an espresso. Monday morning espresso is the best.
Perfect. That's why you guys get along so well. Is there one thing, and I don't know if there is, but is there one thing that you haven't designed yet that you would like to do?
Again, I discovered tomorrow morning. Today it's only Monday. Monday it's it's starter. And we discover tomorrow morning because everything in the end is possible. I like to learn and to be curious enough to discover something to do tomorrow morning. For the rest, I was and I am a very lucky man. I do in the end what I like to do it, and that's it. I design a lot of different pieces. I design houses, I design buildings, I design museums, I design many different things. Technology, I don't need to think what is the best to do again. I discover tomorrow morning.
Ah, love that.
I'll let you know what it's going to be.
You'll let me know. Okay, you'll let me know. This has been such an honor. I hate that we're out of time. I could talk to you all for another hour, but Piero, Stefano, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for Be Originals for helping bring this to life, and just a true honor. So thank you. So now, next we're going to switch it over to Phil Robinson, who's the ICFF show director, who is in the George Jensen Bar with a special guest. Over to you, Phil.